Hello and welcome to the Afri Dominion Show. I am Freeman Singirankabo, and thank you so much for tuning into our program today. Those of you joining us live, especially if you're joining us live straight from our social media platforms, radio station or television, welcome, welcome. We are so excited and very, very grateful for the opportunity to serve you and to be broadcasting and hanging out with you right now as it happens. I welcome each and every one of you to come and have a saying in our program today. We have our social media platforms open that we use to communicate, which is our Zoom. We have a Zoom session open. Feel free to join our conversation in case you find it interesting, or if you want, to add some value to our conversation today. For those of you who are not familiar with Afri Dominion Show, every time you see us live here, we speak truthfully, boldly, and with no apologies, because the conversation that we have here, it's a conversation that's been so deeply embedded within our hearts. Conversation that matters, conversation that we want to talk about, because it is us who have to drive the narrative instead of foreigners, instead of others. If it is our own issues, we have an obligation, we have a responsibility to run the narrative our own, based on our own understanding. And we welcome each and every one of you who may have a better insights or better understanding as to what's going on in our own affairs. And pitch in, guys, and pitch in. And with that in mind, guys, I want to welcome each and every one of you, brothers and sisters, especially you Africans, all over Africa, inside and outside of the continent, to come in and have a saying in our programs. We broadcast our conversations every single day, Monday through Friday specifically, from 12 Eastern Standard Time to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. By all means, come in and join the conversation. Come in and have a saying. Make sure that whatever it is you want to share, whatever it is you want to communicate, don't just let it go. Don't just let it slide by without you having a saying. Or don't wait until we go offline, or don't wait until we're no longer on air for you to shoot us an email, to shoot us a message and say, hey, you actually have forgotten to say this and that. We live in such a time where information is power. But not only information is power, accurate information is literally the king of the jungle today. And we want to make sure that affairs that actually pertain to our everyday lives, we get to be the drivers of these affairs. If you have a saying in your own personal affairs, in your community affairs, in your family affairs, in your own nation affairs, be the one to actually bring your thoughts. Be the one to bring in your suggestions before a foreigner, before someone else far away comes in and tells you what to do and tells you what they think about what's happening in your own house. It is absolutely a nonsense when you have a neighbor coming into your own house and become an expert to your own issues, when you yourselves and your family cannot speak up, cannot find the solutions to the issues at hand. So we are saying no to this, to this narrative. If we got a problem, we are ultimately, first and foremost, the solution provider of those very issues. Even if it's someone else causing those issues, we have an obligation. We have an obligation as primary stakeholders to find a solution to these issues. And so with that in mind, that's why we have Afri Dominion. We want to make sure that as Africans, first and foremost, we get to become the solution providers of the issues that we have every single day. And again, for those of you guys who are not familiar with Afri Dominion and everything that we do here at Afri Dominion, we broadcast because we want to make sure that our brothers and sisters all over Africa, you get to be the frontliners of the issues that we have. You get to be the drivers of the issues, the solution providers of the issues that we have, with no exceptions. This is where you kings and queens, you come in and be the solution providers with no apologies. This is where you come in and advocate for you, on behalf of your brothers and sisters all over. This is where we come in and we say, this is not, if there's an issue that you want to advocate for or against, you can come in openly and say, we are not okay with this. And do not be afraid to voice out those opinions, because gone are the days where we are going to stay silent. when things are happening that actually can be a determining factor as to whether we die or survive tomorrow or even today. Because as you will see momentarily, today most of our brothers and sisters are silent when millions of our family members are perishing. Why? Because we either do not want to have anything to do, we don't want to have anything to do with what's happening. Others, we say it's none of my business. For others, you've taken some money out. Others, you don't even know what's happening because your frequency is completely off from the rest of you brothers and sisters. And we want to say no to that. If we've got an issue as a family, let's be the solution provider first and foremost before foreigners come in and be the solution providers. Because every single individual who's going to come in and be a solution provider for your own issue, rest be assured, they have a stake in it. They're not just going to come in and help you for the sake of helping you. They're helping themselves as well. So it's imperative that whoever that's coming in to give you a hand here and there is also on your side, is looking after the very best interests of you, brothers and sisters. So here at Afri Dominion, we want to make sure that we become the voice of the voiceless. We want to make sure that we bring the solutions of the issues at hand, the issues that we care mostly about, and not waste the airtime, and not waste this opportunity to voice our own opinion, to voice our issues that we care mostly about on something else that is less relevant. And with that in mind, guys, I want to jump right in it. As you have seen, today we want to talk about the Democratic Republic of the Congo, specifically Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. And the topic or the subject for today that we want to talk about: how many brothers and sisters in East DRC or East Democratic Republic of the Congo must die or become refugees before this endless war are stopped? How many of our brothers and sisters must die before this endless war are stopped? That's what I want to talk to you guys about. And for those of you who are not familiar with the conversation that we already have, for those of you who haven't been following, and those of you who are completely in the dark, right now the Democratic Republic of the Congo is fighting Rwanda and Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, regions like Goma, Ituri, and so on. Those of you who are completely clueless as to what I'm referring to right now, please go on Google or any other map service provider and type in Democratic Republic of the Congo, and then zoom in all the way to zoom into the East Democratic Republic of the Congo. Next to it, you will see a little teeny country called Rwanda, Burundi, and then also you will see Tanzania at the bottom, and then Uganda at the very top. That whole section, it is East Democratic Republic of the Congo. Currently, there is a war between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda. This war is being fought using a proxy rebel group, or using a middleman. That's how I can call it for those of you who are not familiar with what a proxy is. There's a middleman called M23. It's a rebel group, an armed rebel group that's fighting in between. Rwanda is helping these rebels to also fight against the Democratic Republic of the Congo. So essentially, you have Rwanda fighting the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and is causing a huge mess right now. And again, I want to come right back and ask you, how many of our brothers and sisters in the East Democratic Republic of the Congo must die or become refugees before these endless war are stopped? This is a question that most of you may or may not be thinking about right now. It takes me back to 1990, when Rwanda had a share of its own warfares, or its own wars, if I may put it that way. And the war back then came from Uganda. Now, how do I know that? I'm originally from Rwanda. And back in 1990, I was just a little teeny boy. And we've witnessed a war that turned into a genocide. Most of you are familiar with Rwandan genocide, but you are not familiar with the war that started in 1990 by the same group that is occupying the government today. The very same group, it's in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, fighting a war there. So there's a relationship of the war that took place in 1990 and the war that's in the Democratic Republic of the Congo today. Now, with all that's going on, as you can imagine, the Congolese brothers and sisters are pretty pissed off. They're pretty upset. Why? Because now they have Rwanda sharing their own territory, the same thing that Rwanda has been accusing of them. They have the M23 rebel group supported by the Rwandan government attacking and killing people there. And yet there is absolutely no one to take responsibility of what's happening. And with that in mind, guys, I want you to marinate on these questions before we dive right in it. Where is the elephant in the Eastern Democratic of the Congo? I want you to understand what I'm getting ready to ask you. Next, what are the, how are the weapons being utilized in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo brought in? How are these weapons brought in? That's the second question. How are the weapons, being used in the war getting in the DRC or the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Who is financing the war in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo? And then who is going to take the liability and responsibility of the dead innocent children, men and women being killed almost daily in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo? And what is your role as a bystander citizen? What is your role as an international community citizen? People are dying today in East Democratic Republic of the Congo, and it has zero to no coverage whatsoever. Why? Because first and foremost, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, it's one of those places that everybody want to be in because of the natural resources. Putting a microscope to it, you may accidentally stumble on a thief stealing some gold, stealing some uranium, stealing some other things unrelated to the war happening in the Eastern Democratic of the Congo. Even though we know that this war is very, very, very much related to how rich the Democratic Republic of the Congo is. So I would love for each and every one of you, especially brothers and sisters, who are Africans, to please think, and think. Why is it that since the 90s, the Great Lakes region continues to experience wars? We have endless warfares. Right now, according to a lot of you smart people, we have been told that there's an estimated between 10 to 18 million people who have perished within the central, the Great Lakes region, not the central, the Great Lakes region, which includes the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Rwanda, Burundi, a little bit of Uganda, Tanzania, and I think if you stretch it too far to Kenya, that may not necessarily count. But at least those immediate 4-5 countries, they count as far as the Great Lakes region. Now, why are we talking about it right now? Just like I had just started saying, right now there is a rebel group, for those of you who are not familiar, M23. That's been fighting in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, also known as the DRC. It used to be called Zaire about 25-30 years ago. But now, the country was renamed to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, from 1990 when the Rwandan Patriotic Front attacked Rwanda and then took over the power in 1994. The same wars that started in 1990 continued to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And up to this very day, the war's still going on. Now, why are we talking about it? Especially that I am not Congolese, but I have a stake in what's happening in the Great Lakes region. I was born in Rwanda. I am Rwandese by birth. So what happens in the Great Lakes region affects me, affects my families, affects friends and family, those who are in Rwanda, those who are in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, because I also have family there. So we have families in the DRC. We also have families in Rwanda. So these are my families that I'm talking about. So and now you have endless and countless people dying every single day. And it's been spinned with such amazing narrative that most of you who are not following, you can actually just take it for what you are being, what's being spinned. Literally since 1990, the Great Lakes region have experienced nothing more than wars. War after war after war. Regime change, regime change, regime change, regime change. We have not experienced any stability in the Great Lakes region up to this very moment. And you wonder, if we're constantly fighting, if we're constantly losing our brothers and sisters for all these many years, who's actually benefiting from these wars, guys? Do you not matter? Are you not worthy as a citizen of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as a citizen of Rwanda, as a citizen of Uganda, as a citizen of Burundi, as a citizen of Tanzania, that we keep on getting killed day in and day out, and nobody cares? How many citizens in the Democratic Republic of the Congo are being killed today? And nobody talks about it, and nobody cares. Guys, things are happening, and this is not an accident. This is set up exactly to take place and to happen as you are seeing it right now. And it is infuriating, and it is absolutely mind-boggling that since 1990, take from 1990 to 2022, that's 32 years at least. And we've been fighting, we've been in turmoils, never-ending turmoils, never-ending warfares. We know what's happening, but we can't stop it. You may wonder, why is it that we cannot stop these wars? Do we really have to turn into refugees before wars are stopped? Do we have to lose our loved one before these wars are stopped? This is the question that I'm asking you guys today. Brothers and sisters, those of you especially who have zero interest in what's happening today. Isn't it your uncle, your aunties, those that you have left behind who are dying today? It is them who are perishing. You could be in the West, you could be in Europe, you could be in Asia, you could be in Australia, or any one of these nations outside of Africa. And you could be like, you know what, I'm just minding my own business. This has nothing to do with me, so you do you and I do me. Some of us, that is the stand that we've decided to take. But I submit to you guys, these wars that you are seeing right now, the very wars that you are ignoring, are actually wiping us out, one by one. One by one, families by families, region by region, even nations. Look what happened in Rwanda. Look what's happening in Rwanda right now. Look what's happening in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I haven't even got started to talk about who's fighting who. Just look the bigger picture first and foremost. And then I want to ask you a question, guys. So I think I may have talked about it. I'm even going to talk about it right now. Let me actually make sure that I go to Wiki before I talk about it, because I want to ask you, each and every one of you guys, look at the size of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and look at the size of Rwanda. Now, you may say that the size doesn't matter, but the size does really matter. For those of you who say the size does not matter, the size matters, guys. Why am I saying this? Since 1990, again, Rwanda has had wars. Since 1994, Zaire turned into the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now it started also receiving and going into wars. From 1994 up to this very day, the Congolese now, they've been into endless wars. Because first and foremost, a lot of our brothers and sisters from Rwanda have fled in the DRC. Burundians have fled there. Ugandans have fled there. And you have factions, different groups who are in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, fighting, plundering minerals, plundering, doing all kinds of business illegally. And I get to ask you guys, because these are the questions that oftentimes you do not even want to bring out, because the minute you bring it up, it comes down to, where is the elephant in the room? Where is the elephant in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo? We talk about wars. We talk about small little group fighting here, another group fighting there. It is said that more than 100 groups are fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo today. More than 100 groups, guys. Think about it. And out of those 100 groups, each and every one of them, they have access to weaponry, high-end weapons. They got bombs, they got bullets, they've got the latest gadgetry when it comes to guns and heavy weapons. The last time I checked, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Democratic Republic of the Congo does not have a weapon manufacturing farm. Rwanda does not have a weapon manufacturing farm. Uganda doesn't have a weapon manufacturer. Burundi does not have a weapon manufacturer. Angola does not have a weapon manufacturer. The Central Republic doesn't have a weapon manufacturer. So my question, first and foremost, I want to find out, how are these weapons ending up in the Democratic Republic of the Congo? This is a question not just for the Congolese. It is not a question just for the Rwandese people. It is not a question just for the Burundians, the Ugandans, or anyone who borders the Democratic Republic of the Congo, especially on the east side, right where the action is taking place. Guys, how in the world are these little teeny groups like M23 receiving weapons? I know these weapons are not falling from the sky. This is where Rwanda is getting implicated. This is where Uganda is getting implicated as gateways of these weapons. If not the financier, those helping these proxy wars. Why is this important? If you do not scrutinize where the source of the problem is, you're going to spend another 30 to 60 years. I am so glad, because now the Congolese are actually starting to publicly point out where the cause of the problem. I've always been wondering, a country as big as the Democratic Republic of the Congo cannot literally secure its own borders. I've been wondering, why is it that this can happen? I was gonna give you guys the size difference of the Democratic Republic of the Congo compared to Rwanda. I want you guys to just listen quickly, because sometimes there are some things that happens and you wonder, like, what's wrong with this picture? So for those of you, I'm looking at the square miles, or the kilometer squares. So the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the total size of the DRC, it's 2,345,409 kilometers square. That's the DRC alone. In Rwanda, it's only 26,338 kilometers square. Now, for those of you who are math geniuses, I want you to tell me, how many times can Rwanda go into the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Literally, at least 89 times. At least 89 times. Why am I just bothering saying that? Why do I bother? Right now, Rwanda has a population which, even though we know that it's problematic, it's not the total accuracy. The accuracy is a little off. It is said that at least, I would say, an estimated between 10 to 12 million people are literally in Rwanda. And Wiki is telling us here that the population in Rwanda is, from 2012, they said that it was 10 million. Right now, in 22, they say it's close to 13 million. It's 12,955,736. That is the estimate. Now, for the Congolese, or for the DRC, the population that they have right now is how many people? They have, 108 million people. Over 108. Now, my first question becomes, guys, why is it that the Democratic Republic of the Congo cannot secure its own borders? Why is it that they have more than 100 groups fighting in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, including this very group we're talking about, the M23? Where are they getting weapons? Who's financing them? Why is it possible under the watch of the Congolese people? Is it that they don't have any army? Is it that they are unable or incapable of fighting? What's happening that we continue to see instability in the region? Why is it that these wars are not stopping? I mean, there are so many questions that we can ask and very little answers, because we are not driving the agenda. Because it is not us, brothers and sisters, who are actually scrutinizing on what's happening right now. How is it that these groups are fighting and you guys find it on any one of these mainstream media? They're even giving you the downloads as to what happens or what's happening. How is it that they know it better than you, the locals? How is it that they better understand what's happening than you, the locals? Guys, when the war in Rwanda started, I was just a kid. Today, I know more than I've ever known when I was a kid. Today, I understand that there is something they call geopolitical wars. There's something they call natural resources that the big fish, as they call themselves, these are bigger nations or advanced nations or developed nations. They come into African nations and they take our own natural resources. They take what they need out of our own countries, and they take it right back to their own nations while we stay in poverty. Not only they take natural resources, but they also take human resources, brain power. The same brain power that can develop our nations, it's being exported to these other nations. The same natural resources that we can utilize to get out of poverty, it is also being exported outside of our own nations. The DRC, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo, it's no different. It's no different, I should say. Its manpower or brain power is being drained for for many, many decades, being taken outside of the nation, the country. Its natural resources being squeezed out of it. Though they have plenty, but it's being squeezed out for many, many, many decades. And in order to steal it, in order for these different groups to easily steal without any accountability, wars must take place. In these wars, they produce refugees. These wars, they produce bodies, dead bodies. But you can never hear of how many dead people, because these are Africans. You never get to know how many people are dying in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Now, let's flip the page just a little bit. Let's take a parallel in Ukraine and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. How many groups right now are screaming Hail Mary for every single individual globally to go in Ukraine to help them out? How much resources has the global community put together for the Ukrainian people, compared to how much resources has been allocated for the Democratic Republic of the Congo, specifically in that eastern region that's been under warfare for more than 30-something years? And you wonder what's wrong with this picture. Could it be that it's racism? Figure it out. Could it be that we just don't care? I don't know. We do know, but I want you to figure it out. And this is where now we come in as brothers and sisters. What are you doing when you just become mind my own business every single day? When you don't want to actually take action plans specifically to solve a situation where your brothers and sisters, your neighbors, may potentially come out of it alive. I've been following what's happening in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. And like I started saying, you have Rwanda attacking the big nations. A little teeny country absolutely just driving nuts an elephant. Not just an elephant, a supersized elephant. It even gets to boast around it. So you may wonder what's wrong with that picture. How is it that an ant can boast around an elephant, even kill an elephant? For many years, Rwanda has been running the show in the Great Lakes region. And you wonder, how is it possible? Because Rwanda is being utilized. In case you guys don't remember, Rwanda, it's like a proxy, it's a middleman. By the way, it really sucks, because I am Rwandese, and it's like I'm bad-mouthing my own nation. But let's speak the truth for what it is. Because unless we literally speak truth and nothing but the truth, we're just going to be doing what everybody else is doing. You have politicians lying for decades. You have special interests also seeking after their own interests by any means necessary. Up to this very moment. And we are tired of these wars, guys. Before I was a teenager, we got involved in wars. My whole teenager years, 20s, 30s, all we see is wars. The conversation on the tables are wars. How can you even think about developing yourself, getting ahead, when you're dodging bullets every single day? How can you get ahead when all you do is trying to survive? Think about a bystander in Goma. For those of you who are not familiar with Goma, it's one of those cities in the East, in East Democratic Republic of the Congo, bordering Rwanda. Currently, they are constantly under warfare. The citizens there, they cannot sleep because at any given time there is a war breaking. How can you live under warfare day in and day out, every single minute, every single day, and expect to get ahead? It is not just one day, not 1 week, not 1 month, not 1 year. We're talking about years, guys. So you've got people dying, absolutely no justice. How are these weapons getting there? How is it that a nation as powerful, as big as the Democratic Republic of the Congo cannot police its boundaries? Now, I'll give you the answer, guys. At least in my own 2 cents. We've been held hostages. We are like slaves, guys. Unfortunately. Like I say, Rwanda doesn't have a manufacturing a farm for weapons. Nor does the Democratic Republic of the Congo, nor Uganda, nor Burundi. Those are at least 4 nations bordering the Democratic Republic of the Congo on the east side. So if the Democratic Republic of the Congo is not attacking itself, these groups in the east region are getting weapons from somewhere. And they're certainly not getting them from those nations that I just mentioned, because they don't have any manufacturing, they don't have any manufacturing farms. So these weapons are coming from foreigners who are able and very securely able to bring in these weapons. That's the first elephant that I want to talk about. Foreigners are destabilizing the Great Lakes region. And none of you can mention a single entity openly, because they don't want to be seen as the pervert. They don't want to be seen as those special interest entities causing havoc in the region. And these politicians, they cannot talk about them openly because they've been financing them for these past 20, 30 years. Now, I want to just put it out here. Those of you Congolese brothers and sisters who are listening, please answer me. So, you guys have at least 100 million people, right? Wiki told me that you have at least, let me look again. So Wiki is telling me that you have at least, yes, 108 million, at least 108 million people. Please tell me, if you take 1 million Congolese soldiers, put them on your eastern border, and say, listen, literally guard every single meter on the border, every single meter square, let's put it that way, on the border, and ensure that there's no intrusion. Can you please tell me if this whole war shenanigan will not be over? Just take 1 million soldiers, go on your border and guard it. 1 million soldiers, take them on the border. Go and take every single one of these groups in your own country. Kick him out. Give him an ultimatum. Clean out your whole entire region, guys. I'm talking about you Congolese brothers and sisters. Now, Article 63, I've read a little bit of your constitution. It says that all you Congolese can actually be enlisted as soldiers, just like Israelis. I learned something new about your nation. Guys, you are at a war right now. You are at war. Out of 100 million of you, just enlist 1 million soldiers. 1 million soldiers. Go to your eastern region. Clean out the place, guys. Anybody who doesn't belong, clean them out. That includes foreigners. Now, I submit to you, though most of you may not go for it, If you do not go to London, if you do not go to Paris, if you do not go to Moscow for solution of your own problem, and you just simply stay in Kinshasa and decide to listen, from today on, our brothers and sisters, let's stand up and let's end these wars. Let's guard the entire boundary of our nation and make sure that there's not a single weapon that ends up in here. And go clean out every single person who has a gun and doesn't have a license to own a gun. Clean them out. Are you telling me that you are not going to eradicate these fights? You are not going to get rid of every single rebel group in that region? I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I'm not a soldier, but I do believe the numbers do count. Take 1 million of you brothers and sisters, go in East DRC. Clean out every single person who doesn't belong, especially those who are carrying weapons. Clean them out. Those who refuse, fight them off. We are tired of these wars, guys. We are tired of these wars. Imagine in the 90s, guys, we were just children. For 32 years at least, all we know is wars. Now, let me also add, the lucky ones amongst ourselves, we are still breathing. There are so many of our brothers and sisters of the same age who are no longer alive. Because we are here in these nations where you can never find wars except these shootings in schools, which is another case of another day. But these nations have not seen any wars for the past decades, even centuries. They don't want to have any wars yet. They are creating these weapons. They are creating these guns. They are creating these bullets, and they're selling them to our own people. May I add, on credit. You can get a gun quicker than you can get rice, a bag of rice. You can get the latest weapon than you can get the latest, any food to eat. What's wrong with this picture, brothers and sisters? You have crooked politicians, you have crooked steward of our nations. We know they're crooked, and we are not taking them out. Why is it that we are colluding into the destructions of our own land? Congolese brothers and sisters, Congolese uncles, aunties, Rwandese uncles, aunties, why is it that you're allowing this to happen? It is unfortunate because this is happening under our watch. Now, history is going to say that even us, we watched when it was happening and we didn't do much. So I say to you guys, my 2 cents, my brothers and sisters in the Congo. You could be my auntie, you could be my 3rd, 4th, 5th cousin. Guys, enlist, especially that your article in your constitution tells you that you have an obligation as a citizen of the DRC. You are at war right now. Enlist, go defend your territory. Go sweep every faction, every single rebel group that has a weapon that's causing havoc in your nation. Get him out of your country. Put a moratorium on plundering, on natural resources plundering. You've got plenty of foreigners in your country just getting all kinds of minerals. They cannot get them legally without creating wars. The same people are bringing in weapon and they're taking out natural resources. Bringing in weapon, taking out natural resources. Can you explain to me how is it that the United Nations soldiers have been there for more than 20 years? And these wars are still ravaging. What are they doing over there? Can you just kick him out of the country? Guys, let's talk real. What is the point of the United Nations troops? Why are they on your soil today? If they cannot secure peace. It is the same reason as they were in Rwanda. Remember, from 1990 to 1994, MINUAR was there in Rwanda. Meanwhile, it's an abbreviation of the United Nations soldiers who were in Rwanda during that wartime. Do you know what happened to them? Do you know what they did? They left the country up in the open. They have helped bringing in the Rwanda to its knees. Yeah, let's talk for real. So now, you brothers and sisters in the Congo, I'm actually shocked that you're not pissed off. For 30 plus years, guys, the same thing has been happening in your nation. At first, I actually was wondering whether you have an army. Truth for speaking. How is it that you can get bullied by Rwanda? Not 1 week, 1 month, 1 year. I mean, we even came to all the way to Kinshasa. Set up Rwandese people there to be vice presidents, guys, to be army of chief, to be army generals. Rwandese people running your own army in the DRC. What is wrong with this picture, Congolese brothers and sisters? An ant telling an elephant what to do. I mean, seriously, something is wrong with this picture. And now the same ant is killing your own elephant kids, and you're still letting it slide by. What's wrong with this picture, guys? To our Rwandese brothers and sisters, right now, guys, we've been going into wars in various nations. What's going to happen if the Congolese march in Rwanda? Just 1 million Congolese people, if they march in Rwanda and just wipe out every single Rwandese person, what's going to happen? Just think about a scenario like that. Right now, Rwanda is not a match to the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It is not a match at all. And I am wondering, why is it that Rwanda is able to bully the Democratic Republic of the Congo? Why is it? So tomorrow, when most of our brothers and sisters are perishing, are we going to then turn around and be like, hey, listen, time out. At what point do we take out the bullies so that the whole entire nation doesn't have to get punished for the sins of just a little teeny group of people? A little teeny group of thieves, I may say. For centuries, Rwanda and the DRC or Zaire, we've been families, guys. But now since the 90s, we've been foes. We've been enemies. And the worst part, we've got families on both ends. Why are we killing each other? It's the same thing that happens that has happened between the Hutus and the Tutsis, because we have intermarried amongst ourselves. Rwanda and the DRC, we also have intermarried. This is not something new. How is it that we cannot protect our offsprings, guys? How is it that we can just allow these wars to continue endlessly? I don't understand this. So, this is where I come in now and I ask you, who's financing these wars? Buying a bomb, it's not an easy business. For you to order a bomb, for you to order a machine gun, for you to order any one of these tanks. I've seen tanks being driven in Goma, in Ituri. Tanks. For you to bring an operation where you have tanks, We're not talking about these regular bulletproof vehicle. We're talking about tanks, guys. You literally have to have someone who's actually bringing in these heavy machinery equipments. Now, we know that there is United States, there is Russia, there is China. There are the Germans, the French. I mean, now weapons can be purchased by any one of those big fives. They can bring them in anytime, anywhere, and you don't say squad. I want to remind you that right now the United States Army, the United States can bring in anything that it wants in Rwanda, and Rwanda can say zitch, cannot say a single word, because of an agreement called the Stateless Force Agreement. I gotta give you the exact agreement. The United States Stateless Force Agreement with Rwanda, where the United States Army personnel can come in the country as they see fit, in and out, without being questioned. Status. Let me give you the exact name, and I want you guys to pay attention, because these are the same thing that's happening, guys. So even the UK can come into the region also through Uganda, through Rwanda, and they can do as they please. Okay, so Rwanda and the United States of America signed the Stateless Force Agreement, SOFA. So it is said that it's supposed to strengthen the existing good military cooperation between the United States of America and Rwanda. The signing ceremony was held on May 28th, 2020. So the United States and Rwanda Stateless Force Agreement. There's another thing they call AFRICOM. Guys, the United States, it's thousands and thousands of miles away from the Democratic Republic of the Congo. What are they doing there? What are they doing in the DRC? To the defense, they're seeking and they're securing the interest of the United States and the United States citizens in the DRC. Its own interest. They're securing the U.S. interest in the region. Now, is the DRC securing its own interest in the United States? That's a question that I want to ask you. Is Rwanda securing its own interest in the USA? Why is it that these big boys are coming into our region and they're securing their own interest in our region, and they're leaving dead people behind, and none of us can say anything to them? And this is okay. Can you come to, let me see, Rwanda? Let me think of a state that's almost same size as Rwanda. There's a state called Maryland. Maryland, it's a pretty small state. For those of you guys, when I talk about a state, it's almost like a country. But in the United States, you have many countries that have formed a united federation. That's why they call United States of America. It's many countries that became one. There's one of the country called Maryland. This country called Maryland is almost the same size as Rwanda and Burundi. Can you imagine you causing havoc in Maryland or in Washington, D.C., and they leave you alone? Can you come and seek out the interest of Rwanda, of Burundi, of Uganda, in Washington, D.C., or in Maryland, and then leave there a bunch of people, millions of people dead? And the Americans, they look a blind eye. The answer is heck to the no. So how many years has the United States been in the Democratic Republic of the Congo? How many years has the United Kingdom been in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, in Rwanda, in Uganda? Since then, how many millions of people have died, and they have zero responsibility of those deaths, when we clearly know that they are in the middle of those deaths? So brothers and sisters, gone are the days where you're going to be silent. At some point, you have to grow some balls and ask, why is it our brothers and sisters, our cousins are dying in millions over your watch, and you have just left the building, you have just left the village, and you left death, you left bodies, and you have zero liability towards those deaths. Right now in the United States, there is an epidemic of guns where children are going to primary school, secondary school, and they're shooting people. And the Congress in the Congress in the United States is scrambling, trying to police guns and weapons. Because what? Just less than 40 people are dead. We're talking about millions in Africa and nothing. There's no action whatsoever. What's wrong with this picture, guys? The latest weapons are tested in Africa. They're not tested on animals, they're tested on human beings. The best gun that can kill most people, it's all there. And then they give it to a dictator or someone who's absolutely a lunatic, and they say, give it a try. And they're wiping us out in millions. Not in tens, guys, not in the hundreds, in millions. And there's no congressional hearings about it. Nobody goes to jail. Why? Because we just don't matter. So how long is it gonna take before all of us, brothers and sisters, we get together and we say, heck to the no more bringing in these guns. Every single one of these groups with gun in our own nations, let's kick them out. I would even dare tell our brothers and sisters in Rwanda, in Uganda, in Burundi, let's team up, all of us together. Those of us who really want to fight on behalf of our own territory, of our own land, of our own inheritance. Let's get rid of every single foreigner with a gun, every single salesman who's selling in big guns amongst our own people. Let's get rid of them all, guys. Publicly. Let's fight them off. If a politician is bringing in more guns, know which politician is bringing in these guns. Get rid of them, guys. Openly. This is a part of that slavery, guys, I'm telling you about. We cannot progress when we are constantly fighting these wars. We cannot progress when we are being killed every single day. We cannot progress when all we think about is the next hole to dodge the bullet, the next hole to dodge a bomb. We cannot progress if all we are experiencing is wars endlessly. These wars are not coming from heaven. They are bringing in by our own people. So every single one of our own people committing treason, guys, let's get rid of them. Enough is enough, guys. Which is why I'm advocating that you Congolese people enlist 1 million Congolese people. And you Rwandese people who can help. Let's help so we can eradicate the problem. Any single one of these people, be it Rwandese, Burundians, Congolese, Ugandans, in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, who's fighting the government, disarm them all, guys. Disarm them all. If it's Rwanda, disarm it. We cannot have peace if we continue to use a middleman called proxy to keep on waging wars. Get rid of the foreigners, guys. Have a moratorium on foreigners coming in. Have moratoriums on these guns. Have moratoriums of anything that is causing havoc, that is bringing in wars. If I was your president, that's what I would do. Enlist 1 million of you Congolese brothers and sisters. Go to the border of your country. Stop everything that comes in and goes out. Fight off everybody. If you go from the border and then just go in, Circle these groups, guys. From your border, fight off everybody who's inside. That's what I would do if you're seriously looking for peace. And just for solidarity purposes, all of you who will be supporting, who can help eradicate these wars, join in the fight. Enlist the rest of our brothers and sisters, those who can help, so they can come in and we do it together. Let's get rid of these problems, guys. We can do it. And the problem is, do we have the will to do it? I truly believe in 1 month, no, realistically speaking, in 6 months, Congolese people, you can permanently get rid of the wars in East DRC. You can permanently get rid of all those faction groups. Have 1 million of you, brothers and sisters. 1 million of you. From the border, push in everybody who's not a soldier, who's not FARDC. Everybody who isn't an official army of the DRC. Disarm them. Those who refuse, fight them off. Clean out the entire region. Bring order. Every foreigner who doesn't belong, get rid of them. It is incredible how you have a country inside of another country. It is incredible how mercenaries are operating in East Democratic Republic of the Congo. They're bringing in these big heavy weapons. It's incredible how these big nations are operating in your nation, in Eastern Democratic of the Congo on your watch. Every single one of these nations that we have mentioned is there, securing its interest, all under your watch. When enough is enough, my brothers and sisters? When enough is enough? How many of our brothers and sisters must die before we can say, you know what, enough is enough? Let's fight. Those who are going to perish will perish. But those who are going to be left behind, clean out every faction group that doesn't belong there. 108 million of you against, worst case scenario, 100,000 fighting groups. Please tell me, why is it that you have not neutralized these groups? Enlist 1 million of you. Take them to the East DRC. A meter square by a meter square march from the border going inside. Get rid of everybody who isn't a part of your military, national military. Get rid of them. Disarm them as an option. Those who refuse, fight them off. You do that, it will be an example. Let's stop crying, guys. Let's do it ourselves. You are not going to go to the United Nations and get it done. Because they're going to tell you, go to Nairobi, go to Kampala, go to Angola somewhere, go to Rwanda. Angola, in Rwanda, the capital of Angola. Go to Pretoria and let's talk about it. What is it there to talk about, guys? What is it there to talk about? You are at war, defend yourselves. And while you're at it, ensure that these wars stop. I really wish, and I'm longing to see the day where we can defend ourselves. We can defend ourselves and not throwing ourselves under a bigger holes. You're buying the latest weapon, but you don't know how to pay for them. You still are going to be slaves of these manufacturers, of these nations that are giving you these weapons. If necessary, go backwards and create your own weapons. There's no need for you to get weapons on credit. Exchanging a part of your nation. Imagine selling off the entire Rwanda just to get weapons. Guys, when I said there is a country inside of another country, I'm not just dreaming about it. Right now in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, they are private land that is just considered like a nation, off the books, with mercenaries there, guarding those regions. And you cannot enter it. The Democratic Republic of the Congo cannot go inside. How does that happen when a foreigner set up their own land, private land? And they also give you an ultimatum. You get past here, you die. I don't understand that. Now, either you are part of the crooked system or you are part of the solution. So let's get rid of all those faction groups. Protect the entire integrity of the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Rwandese brothers and sisters, stop these wars. Do not be a part of it. If the government of Rwanda is taking us all in a war in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, let's say no. Most of you don't even know what's happening except what you are being told. And you have no way of verification. And you cannot verify it. The last time I checked, the government works for the people, not the other way around. How is it that you cannot know? You have no scoop whatsoever of what's happening in Rutshuru. It's disgraceful, guys. And this is something that is really not acceptable. We have to stop this. Because it will be a nightmare to see 1 million Congolese marching all the way here to Kigali. Wipe out everybody. Because a few Rwandese groups of people have gone to the DRC and killed their own people. And then they retaliate. Just think of that scenario. It will be crazy as hell. Why would you lose the entire nation covering a little teeny group of people? Thieves. Why would you do that? Why would you even want to do that? So I'm saying, give up the thief. Let's clean up the region. Give up the thief and let's clean out the region. My Congolese brothers and sisters, I know most of you are pissed off with Rwanda, but I want to let you know that Rwandese people are currently slaves in their own nations. The Rwandan Patriotic Front has the entire population as hostage in Rwanda. What the Rwandan Patriotic Front does should never be what every single Rwandese people wish, even though that's how it's presented right now. Rwandese people are hostages for the past 28 years. There is zero freedom in Rwanda for them to choose what they want to do, from there to choose who can represent them. And this is a part of the problem also that we have to eradicate. The Rwandan Patriotic Front, it's a part of the problem, which has also become an extension of your problem in your Eastern DRC. So, if we are eradicating the problem, let's eradicate everything in our own region so that these wars stop once and for all. We cannot continue to live in fear. We cannot continue to live in these warfares, in these never-ending warfares. Guys, let me tell you, my brothers and sisters, especially you Rwandese people, this war is coming, unfortunately. It's coming, it's guaranteed. It's a matter of when is it coming. Now, whose side are you going to be on? Whose side are you going to be on, guys? Why should we continue to see blood being shed? Our brothers and sisters being killed and helplessly tortured, and we do nothing about it. What happens if it becomes you and your family? And you never bothered helping another family when it needed you. Millions of people have already perished, and you looked while it was happening and you didn't say nothing. When do you realize that enough is enough with these wars? These groups fighting in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, they're causing refugees crisis in the Great Lakes region. They're causing death in the region. And they continue to perpetuate violence. I mean, not just any violence, the most heinous violence you can experience in the region. How can we live in peace if these groups are still operating there? How can we see a better tomorrow with peace if these groups continue to operate there? So the time is now that we all get together, you sons and daughters, kings and queens in Africa, and we get rid of the problem. The problem is there. We can see the problem. We do not need to go to New York in the Security Council meeting to decide who we need to take out. We already know who to take out. I would wish that you grow balls, Congolese brothers and sisters. That you grow balls, Ugandans. You grow balls, Rwandese people. You grow balls, Burundian people. And the rest of you, brothers and sisters, who actually feel concerned of what's happening right now in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. And we rally behind each other and we fight off every single faction group. Every single one of these groups operating with arm in Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. Disarm them. Those who refuse to be armed, we fight them off. Simple as that. If the United States is enjoying peace for the past 200 plus years, if the United Kingdom is enjoying peace, if France is enjoying peace, they're manufacturing weapons, but none of these weapons are actually being utilized on their own territory. Why is it that we cannot, at the very least, those of you who are very masters of copy and paste, why can't you not just scrutinize of these countries and do the same? So guys, I ask you to please, let's get together and get rid of this issue. Get rid of these wars. Get rid of these terrorist groups. Let's fight them off. Let's fight them off as brothers and sisters. Disarm those who are going to, those who are going to actually cooperate. Fight off those who will not. But let us not allow any more death of our brothers and sisters because we just want to mind out our business. It's egregious, guys, that this continues day in and day out. None of us do anything about it. Enough is enough. If we must die, let's die as brothers and sisters. Let's die as kings and queens. Let us not die as slaves, guys. Let us not die as slaves. Our inheritance is our own inheritance. If you cannot fight it off, if you cannot fight on your behalf, if you cannot fight on behalf of your family, if you cannot fight on behalf of those who don't have any more fight in them, those who cannot fight for themselves, at least fight for your country. There is a saying in our country that you refuse blood. You refuse to give blood to your nations, and the dog drink it for free or up in the open. So I want to ask you, I want to encourage each and every one of you, please be be patriots, be patriotic on behalf of our nations. We need it. This is the time for it. Let's fight off everybody who's bringing in havoc in our own homelands. Foreigners are not going to do it because they're seeking after their own interest. Let's learn how to seek out of our own interest first and foremost. And that's what I'm ending with this, guys. I am hoping that you brothers and sisters can actually be courageous enough to decide what you want to do for your nations. And let's help our brothers and sisters in the Congo. Whatever it is that you guys need, let us know. We are absolutely behind you guys. I am against every foreigner who is in the Democratic Republic of the Congo causing havoc, including Rwanda, Burundi, and Uganda. Any single one of them who's there causing havoc, let's get rid of them. And with that in mind, guys, I am Freeman Singirankabo. Give us some feedbacks. For those of you who have some feedbacks, you can shoot us an email at info@afridominion.com or visit our website, www.afridominion.com, for any commentaries or whatever it is you want to share with us. We will be more than glad to receive it. Guys, we're not playing. This is how we roll. We speak boldly, truthfully, and with no apologies, because these are the issues that we care very deeply about, guys. And with that in mind, guys, I am Freeman Singirankabo here at Afri Dominion. I want to wish you, each and every one of you guys, a super fantastic days. Until we see you guys again, be safe, guys. Be safe, and God bless. Until next time, so long. Goodbye for now.